Still waiting for a constitutional crisis? Still waiting for that line to be crossed? I could honestly say you're about 10 years behind if you're still waiting for that. But the actual Rubicon of us being in a constitutional crisis, in my opinion, was when Donald Trump got into office the last time and freed all the 1,600, I think, January 6th insurrectionists. Before I get into what I'm about to say, I would like you to like and subscribe to this video. Costs nothing. However, I might not be around here long enough for any of what I have to say to permeate the American conscience, because I think we're way beyond that. I think we're beyond reason right now. I think we're beyond what is political versus racial. I think we're beyond what is constitutional versus unconstitutional. I think we are way beyond the rule of law. So what I'm going to do right now is take a moment to advise you on what we did many moons ago, before there was a Donald Trump threat to United States national security and right now world security. The first thing you need to do is get educated about the law. And you need to get armed, because shit's about to get real. Now, I don't care who comes on the internet for clickbait and says this is going to end Trump, or they post videos that have nothing to do with the content. We're beyond that too, because I'm always thinking forward. Now, I might not be on this earth long enough to enjoy, or maybe not enjoy, what I'm telling you right now, but I'm going to tell you what I know from the bottom of my heart and my actual experiences in life. America, as Americans, really need to get your shit together. When I see a protest that has more people that are disabled, that shouldn't have come out of the house, than I do elected officials in the Democratic Party, there's a problem here. There is an absolute problem. The same people keep standing up for us while others do nothing. If you live in a blue state, you need to find out who your elected officials are, and you need to hold them to account, including especially the state of California, where Nancy Pelosi lives. It is time for her to leave. I will never forgive her for stalling on Donald Trump's first impeachment. I will never forgive Merrick Garland for waiting 2 years to appoint special counsel. I will never forgive every single person, whether you're Muslim, Latino, black or white, who voted for Donald Trump. And now you're sitting here talking about you didn't vote for this. Yes, you did. Because one, you did not read his policies. Number two, you just got on the bandwagon because you thought he was going to win and it was going to up your sales and whatever you were doing or whatever. Number three, you did not read Project 2025, and that was crucial in understanding where we are today. It is the Mein Kampf of America, and you didn't do that. Cuban Latinos, same with you. White-skinned Latinos, same with you. You did not read. We read. I have been studying Donald Trump since the 1980s. When I thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because I hadn't graduated high school yet. But when I started to follow his career, step by step by step, I understood that he was an abject failure. But you didn't. And for the rest of you new on this protest scene, let me tell you something about black people. They have undergone some of the most prolific racial discrimination and extermination tactics since slavery in the United States of America. Yet, there are black Americans today who supported people like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And still to this day, I go up in their faces and I ask them, do you think the way things are, it will come to your deportation or extermination under these policies? And they say no. If you think for one moment, and I'm going to step out of the box and state it like it is, that there is something special about your black ass because your ancestors were slaves under the Trump administration, you are sorely mistaken. They will get you out of here faster than you can take a shit in a bathroom and lock up. This is absolutely an emergency. And least of all, black people don't realize that. They're sitting around here going through their daily lives as if they're waiting for the courts and the process. They still, after being betrayed time and time and time and time again by Donald Trump and then by their own party officials who are white that did not uphold their constitutional oath, like Nancy Pelosi when she failed to impeach Donald Trump and waited and waited and waited the first time. They still trust the white man to look out for their best interest. That makes you a slave. I have never been that. Dear white people, I have a message for you. This might be my last days on earth because I had the audacity to get sick and be fighting for Medicaid for the past 10 years. Most of which I was poorly represented in court by an attorney. And then I had a very bad doctor. In 2020, right after COVID, I was asked to go to the office of a Dr. Tockham in the state of Maryland. Within a month, I was diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome, which is not a monolith. Doctors claim they know everything about it, but they don't. Before I even got to the second doctor's office, I had suffered from paralysis many times, gastrointestinal problems, vomiting, not being able to eat, bleeding out of the nose, ears, and other places, and just uncontrollable issues with my body. From one day to the next, I didn't know what was going to happen. And it happens to me in quads, where you get your right leg that doesn't work, and then your right, whatever organ is on this side doesn't work. And then your left arm doesn't work, and all that. So the money is in the medicine. And my first doctor just kept shooting me up with stuff. And then he diagnosed me with being basically hypochondriac. One blood test proved him wrong. If I did not have Medicaid when that happened, I would have never been able to sit here and talk to you today. I would be dead right now. I was suffering from brain issues and everything else. So that's that. And I don't normally advocate for myself. I think that's kind of like self-pity. But I wanted to get that part of the story out there to bring you to where I'm at. If you are 80 years old and in the Senate or Congress, and you are white, and your biggest problem is Donald Trump, not only do I think you should burn in hell, but I think you are less than human and very evil. And I'm speaking of Miss Murkowski, who today basically got special rights for the state of Alaska, while the rest of us suffer from Donald Trump's policy. Now, I might be dead. I'm thinking maybe by Christmas of this year. Either it's going to happen due to my Medicaid being cut, because right now I can't work, and I've been trying 10 years to get disability to no avail, or I'm going to stand up and go all in, and that's how I'm going to go out of here. I have never been, when I knew I was right, afraid of anything. And as a mixed blood Native American and a descendant of slaves, I had every reason to fear. But because of my upbringing, I never did. I don't know what it is about white people that makes them so weak like that. Enslaved black people didn't let the house Negro stop them from fighting for their emancipation. So why are white people letting some fat guy that shits his pants and pisses himself dictate to them how they serve their constituencies? Which is a far less number than the African Americans and the Indians that were in the United States when the first white people came here. I don't understand your logic. Let me process this. So, what you're saying is, you had a problem with a black president doing things for your constituents, but you are afraid of a white guy who is going to get you thrown out of office. Now, I'm not going to be around in 2026 for all these elections that white people are talking about are going to change America. That's not going to happen. I know how this works. The loudest mouth is the first one lynched. That's how it happens. But let me tell you something. Dear white people, this is a letter to you. You have tried, post-Reconstruction, to make America great again. You have tried, after the Civil Rights Movement, to make America great again. And you're trying now. Black, red, and brown people are still here. Now, to those of you who are ignorant to the culmination of all of these movements, now I'm talking Adolf Hitler, I'm talking Birth of a Nation, the movie, I'm talking post-Reconstruction, the lynch mobs, the fear, the assassination of Medgar Evers and Martin Luther King and all of that. All of the people that have been evil on earth, with ancestors that have been evil on earth, have come together to formulate the perfect storm of racism that, if we do not take it seriously, is going to absolutely make America white again. Now, Latin Americans, disappeared people, it's the same thing as kidnapping, who have no family that's going to look after them. Children who are separated from their families in the first Trump administration. All of that is the low-hanging fruit to get you angry and not to pay attention to the primary objective that has existed in the United States of America since its inception. The United States of America has always wanted to rid this country of black people in order to erase the original sin against Christian humanity. They came here Christianizing blacks and Indians under the guise of civilization and making their lives better. If that were the case, why are Indians still on reservations with little or no food, and black Americans still undergoing systematic racism? Understand the bullshit in your history. Dear white people, understand that your history is directly related to what is going on right now. You can wash your hands of it, say I didn't vote for it, say I'm not racist, but as a white American, the color of your skin absolutely gives you carte blanche, especially right now in 2025, to exercise that privilege by not getting involved and not speaking out, while you continue to benefit generationally from slavery. And nobody has a problem with that. No white people I know have a problem with that. They always say stuff like, especially Republicans, well, we didn't have slaves. Yeah, but the land that you own right now was owned by indigenous people and probably paid for 10 times over by enslaved black Americans. But you don't see that because all you care about is yourself. And this is what America is right now, all about self. And that goes for every race. Now I want to speak to Muslims for a moment, because I got really pissed off when Kamala Harris became the nominee for the Democratic Party. She was put in an untenable position after Democrats, knowing what the threat was, especially white Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, rallied against Joe Biden and talked about his ineptitude. You want to talk about ineptitude? That's what we're dealing with right now. You did this. Every white Democrat elected official had the opportunity to stop this and failed miserably. They failed every black and brown person that they claim to represent. And that sickens me to the core. That you still sit up there in your job. You hide from the public. You make no statements. You are just as culpable for what is happening right now in America in this genocide as Donald Trump is right now. And for the regular American out on the street, Nancy Pelosi doesn't have to walk around Washington, D.C. and interview people. When was her last fucking town hall, by the way? She does absolutely nothing but collect a check. And there's many, many more. That's just one that sticks with me because she had a chance to do something about this bullshit and she didn't do it. I want to talk about rich black people that back Donald Trump. Obviously, you don't study European history because they didn't get rid of the doctors, the rich people, and all those type of people first. They got rid of the disabled, the deaf, the blind, and, people who were mute and all that, the gays and all that. And then they started going up the chain. And in the end, the same guards that were responsible for containing Jews to be exterminated were exterminated in the end. So if you think Donald Trump has you on his side because he likes Snoop Dogg and Chris Rock and all these type of people or whatever, towns got raided where the richest people in Europe were sent to concentration camps, starved, worked to death, or exterminated. Where are their riches right now? In German families. Just like the riches that really belong to the African Americans who built the White House, who built all the monuments in Washington, D.C., built the American economy before the Civil War, solely for the profit of white people. Their riches are in the hands of people like Donald Trump right now, that came here way after we had established the United States of America and paved white people's way to prosperity. That's what black people did. And they're still doing it. I live in a blue state that is predominantly black, I can say. And every year, religiously, they filed their taxes. The last time they filed, they didn't know that Doge had basically gutted the IRS. And if they did know, they don't care because all they want to do is follow the rule of law and for white people to respect them for doing the right thing. Maybe it's not time to do that shit, because what you're doing is financing your own extermination. So what I have to say about that, you should not, next year, if you live in a blue state, you want to cut this shit, you want to stop it right now, don't file federal taxes. Because I can almost guarantee that most of you won't get a check back this year for your tax refund. Because there's nobody right now in the IRS to process it. There's nobody there to take your phone call. In addition, every single entity that you rely on, if you make less than $100,000 a year, has been defunded by Doge and Donald Trump. So when he passed the big beautiful bill, all the money that was supposed to go to people who can't take care of themselves anymore to live in a nursing home, excuse me, people in Appalachia who need hospitals, disabled people like me who can't work but are going to have to find a way to lose a job on a weekly basis so that we can get a check. All of that money is going to now go to deporting, let's be real, American citizens from the United States. Out of all the people that have been deported from the United States of America, not even a third of them have been convicted of violent crimes or are going to be convicted of violent crimes. Many, if not, I think half or something like that, are actual American citizens. So if you're black, brown, red or white in America, and you want to do the right thing, at every turn, you need to rally against this. And I don't mean protest. I mean your everyday life. I've been in some semblance of the civil rights movement since 1990 something. Every time I had the opportunity to go to the other side for profit, for comfort, or anything else, I denied myself that. Why? Because I had to live with myself. That's probably why I'm in the position that I'm in. I am 53 years old, and because I made the right choice every time, and not sometimes, I believe that is why I'm still here. I truly believe that. Now, I'm not a person of God. I don't believe in God in the afterlife and all that kind of stuff, but if you do, then you should understand that your God would not have put all these different colored people on this earth if he didn't mean for them to prosper. If he only meant for white people to get anywhere, especially in the United States of America, he would have just made white people. So if you're white and you watch Fox News and you beat off on alligator, Alcatraz and all that kind of stuff, then you're a sick individual. You're not a Christian. You need to read the Bible. And I know you're not going to. You're going to placate to whoever tells you what you want to hear. That's your soul that's in danger. That's your soul. And the funny thing about stuff like what I'm talking about right now is every single solitary person, like George Wallace, for instance, that did against the laws of humanity, ended up in a position where they had to depend on the people they fucked over, like George Wallace did. Or they died by the hands of the people they fucked over. So you have a lot to consider, white people. But know this. Even though I know that the Trump administration, what they've handed down, and coupled with Doge having all my information and my inability to actually get disability based on my condition, and the threat of being deported because I am not white, still, my biggest fear in life is not white people, Maga, white people with guns, or racists. On my best day, I could have done a lot of things. On my worst day, I will still work you off of this job. And this job is the assignment that my ancestors gave me. I assure you, at the rate you're going, I'll be here long after you're gone. And you remember I said that, because I haven't been wrong yet. To the rest of you, you're looking at the smokestacks. Still don't smell the sausage. If you think because you are anything other than white, you could be a target right now. If you know better, do better. This is not a time, governors of blue states, to put shit on the internet that's clickbaits for your fans. You're not a fucking model, assholes. Re-elected you to do a job. Do your fucking job. We're getting sick and tired of financing, and I will say this, is a minority of black individuals who don't do shit but take pictures. And you know who you are. Now you can stop it, and I know you won't, because you're too fucking arrogant. But you know what? You reap what you sow. And I know this to be a fact because I have been around long enough to see that thing come around. By the way, did you know that George Wallace was shot in Laurel, Maryland by a white man? Interesting. Remember him? Segregation now. Segregation tomorrow. Segregation forever. Yeah. And his speeches were written by one Asa Carter, who posed as an Indian for a while to write a book called The Teaching of Little Tree or some shit. I'm just telling you, if you're black in America right now, and you think that because you're an elected official, you're immune, or you can do the get along gang bullshit, governors of blue states, you got that all wrong. This ain't your father's civil rights movement. And the future doesn't belong to the 65 and over. You know who it belongs to? Me. And me is every one of you that feels the same way I do. This is the John Brown Alliance. Good night and good luck. Thank you for listening. Once again, please like and subscribe, because I'm probably going to forget to tell you at one time or another. In case I'm not on here before July 4th, Celebrate your Independence Day by being independent of the foolishness that we celebrate every July 4th. Take time out to be with your families. Don the flags of the country you come from or your ancestors come from, and take a break from Donald Trump. Also, celebrate by choosing a red state with a red governor, red legislature, and write one of them a letter. Even though you don't think it makes a difference, it does. Thank you for watching this video. Hope this brings you a little bit of hope. Talk to you later.